Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Internal Compass podcast. The podcast where myself, Samuel Archambault, osteopath and kinesiologist, I'm trying the best I can to help you figure out how to get more realigned from inside out. On today's episode, we're going to talk and discuss a little bit less about something scientific this time, but a little bit more about something behavioral. What I mean is today's topic will be all around what can we do? What can you do if you feel sad, if you feel depressed, if you feel just a little bit more low or lower in your mood and energy? What can you do out of this to regain your energy back? Or what can you question yourself about? How can you get a little bit more introspective about that state of mind so that you can learn from that and progress forward? All right, so first of all, before we start, I want to tell you that if sometimes you don't have your 100% energy, if sometimes you feel a little bit low, you feel a little bit depressed or sad, this is normal. All of those different states are completely normal. And I feel that in today's world, we have very much difficulty to kind of handle those type of states in a world that on social media and everybody tells you that you should be happy all the time and you should only share positive vibes and only be on the maximum energy that you can ever have every day. This is just unrealistic. Our mood, our emotions, they all varied, and that's completely fine. Because if you've been following my podcast now for some time, I hope that one key message that you've been learning along the way is that if your body feels this way, if your emotions are going left or right, or if you feel a little bit more depressed or sad, it's because something's up and something requires your emotion. So, what is that source? Why are you feeling this way? And that's where I want to bring you today, is that not only there are tools out there that can help you better maybe change those emotions, because yes, it's normal. Sometimes we feel depressed and it's just like that. But there are some things that we can do in few minutes that will completely change your mood, that can make you feel much better in just a few minutes. But we'll see that if those things, they don't work, then there is something a little bit further we need to do. Maybe some questions we need to start asking ourselves, and maybe some introspection we need to do along the line. So, on today's topic, let's dive in. First of all, we get a little bit low, we get a little bit depressed. What can you do at first? Myself, and now, of course, all of the tools that I'm going to share today are tools that, yes, are supported by science, of course, but also have been tested by myself and also with my clients. So that's the tool that I use with my own clients when I'm talking with them, and that we elaborate some strategies on how to get out of those specific patterns. And just as a side note, those techniques can be good to get out of either acute emotional mood. So let's say that you feel like depressed right now, but that doesn't mean that you are in a depression. And that if you are in and you're experiencing a clinical depression, then that's something else. And I would not go as far as telling you that those tricks can completely cure some kind of depression. No, but can they help a depressive state? 100%. So the first thing I do, or I instruct my clients to do whenever they feel a little bit low, is that I always ask them to look at the last few days, and especially on the level of how have you been able to carry on your healthy habits? How was your sleep? How was your nutrition? Because most of the time, we are just a little bit into a lack of sleep, and that's what makes us feel a little bit moody. Yes, maybe, hopefully, you know by now that if you are in lack of sleep, 100% your mood and emotions are going to variate in a way that you'll be maybe more irritable. You'll feel a little bit like just lower in general, not so energetic, not so happy. That's completely normal if you are, of course, lacking a little bit of sleep. So looking at your nutrition, your sleep, have you been exercising recently? Have you been outside? Looking at the light, all of those things have an impact on your mood. So, of course, if you haven't been doing those things, well, doing them or starting again to do them is definitely going to help. Meaning, don't go too fast too quickly. In other words, you can go for a short walk. In the morning, you can go outside for 5 to 10 minutes just to get some light in your eyes. Maybe that you focus more on your sleep. How was your stress levels recently? Have you been very, very stressed? Something was on your mind? Well, maybe that's something that you should address. So going back in the past, in those last few days, and looking at those healthy habits, have you been able to really implement them in a way that you normally do and that supports your mood in general? So that's the first thing that I want to do. Then, if you've been looking at that and all of those things works perfectly and they're all good, then there are other things that you can do. And the first thing that I like to use are small actions and small behaviors that will have a big effect on your mood and your state. Some of those include something like training, so any kind of physical activity. It's proven that it will support a better mood and it will increase confidence in yourself, how you feel. Just go for a long hike in nature, do something that is fun. Do something that you know for yourself. It's not any planning, it's not work, it's really something that you do for fun and that you enjoy. Anything also that will spike your adrenaline, something that will make you more alert. It will also have an impact on your mood. So next time that you feel a little bit more depressed, how about you try a 30 seconds to 60 seconds cold shower? Not so cold that you can't even breathe, but cold enough that, it gives you a little sense that you're getting more awake. And you'll see that after that 60 seconds shower, you'll feel much better than before. Again, those are short-term solutions. Those are like plasters. I'm not telling you here that just by taking a 1 minute cold shower, you're going to solve everything. But doing those activities that will raise your heart rate up and making you more excited is going to have an effect on your mood right away. So again, aim for fun and aim for something that increase your level of arousal, something that will make you a little bit more, let's say, excited. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, recently, and I'm currently recording this podcast on Valentine's Day. So recently, yes, it was Valentine's Day. And my next point is that if you feel a little bit low and a little bit depressed, a really good way to address that is to share it with someone. And again, there is something in the fact that we connect with someone else because we have to express how we feel to someone. Yes, you can do that in different ways, but to have to kind of be with someone else, explain, put into words how you feel, and feel also that you are being supported by someone else is a great way that it's not going to change entirely how you feel, but knowing that you're not alone in how you feel might actually have a good short-term effect on your mood. Just knowing that it's really nice that to feel supported by someone else. So reaching out to a friend, talking about the situation, how you feel, also just forcing you to kind of express how you feel, the more you're able to put words on how you feel and what the exact emotion that you feel, the better you'll be able to understand them. So get this. When we feel sad, when we feel low, it's actually worse when we don't know what's going on. So by reaching out by a friend or to try to not necessarily rationalize it, but in other words, trying to identify exactly how do I feel. The more we're able to pinpoint how do we feel, the more it's easier for us to understand completely our state, and then we can better accept it and move forward, because if we can't really accept something that we don't understand. Now that we've looked at what you can do by looking at few days before, and now what you can do in the moment, short term effects, so short behaviors that you can implement a better mood right here, right now. All of those things, they're great, and they can be combined with something that is a little bit more deep, a bit deeper. So what do I mean by that? Well, look at it this way. If you feel low, if you feel a little bit more depressed, you have a choice. You can look at this situation and ask yourself this question: do you have control or power over that situation? If the answer is yes, then do the thing you need to do to be able to change it. So if, example, something makes you sad and it's because of how you acted, then you're able to maybe apologize, solve that issue yourself, and move forward. Those things are normal. Again, emotions are normal. They send you back a message. So ask yourself, are you able to do something about this? Yes or no? Unfortunately, most of the time, we'll notice that there's nothing we can do about it. There's a situation, and maybe it involves someone else that we don't have control over how they're acting. And this is what is making us low. And maybe sometimes we don't even know, we don't even understand what makes us a little bit depressed. So it's very hard to say, oh, I know exactly what to do, because we don't understand it. So if the answer is, okay, I cannot do anything about it, then becomes the hard part. Then comes the part where you have to say, okay, if there's nothing I can do about it, then you need to work this letting go skill of not necessarily accepting, but letting go is not, you're not surrendering to the situation saying, I can't do anything about it, so I am now indifferent. I now distance myself from it, and I kind of look at it from very far and say, you know, I'm powerless. There's nothing I can do. Falling into this trap is just going to make you feel more like a victim of the whole situation and not really support you into, okay, kind of letting go of the entire thing. But if you're able to understand what's going on and then just accepting the fact that you don't have control, that's what letting go is. So it's not necessarily tolerating the whole situation, but it's about to say, okay, I get it. I don't have any power right here. So I'm going to focus on what I do have power. And for that, I'm just going to let it be, and let it be in a space that it's not frustrating you or it's not making you even more into your depressed state. That's not what we want. But I'm telling you right now, applying this skill takes time and it takes practice, but it's doable. So just look about it this way. If you feel that you are at peace after saying, there's nothing I can do about that situation, then let's just go and see in the next few days if that passes or not. If it doesn't pass and your sense and your mood, let's say, that you feel a little bit more depressed or sad, or you feel that something's up, it just persists. You've tried all the tricks, it just doesn't work. First of all, that's a really important point. Don't take any important decision during this time. When we're emotional, we're not very rational, so we don't take very good decisions. So maybe you let that, those deals, those business deals, or those decisions about an important relationship, maybe you leave that on the ice, on the hold, and think to yourself, I'm going to solve my state first, and then I'm going to take those decisions. And that's really smart from you, really wise. So what else? What else you can do if all of those things doesn't work? Well, then you can start to ask yourself some questions to maybe seek a bit more meaning. Why are you feeling this way? And how can you use this at your own advantage? Because again, the emotions are messages. First step would be at that point to create some space for yourself. If you're not able to understand what's going on, again, it's going to be hard for you to make sense inside of you and then take decision on how can you use that along the way. So in order to better understand and maybe notice what's going on in a longer period of time, making some space is what you need. And what do I mean by making some space? Making some space everywhere. If you need in your relationship, maybe in your schedule, maybe you train a little bit less, maybe you do less things in general, less activities, and you just live slower day. And by making space, the other thing that comes along with it is slowing down. If you run or if you go and drive 100 kilometers an hour on the freeway and you look to your left and right, you're not going to see much because everything passes so quickly. But if you're able to slow down and just drive 30, 40 kilometers an hour, you'll be able to notice much more the landscape around you, what's going on. Are there some people? Hey, look, this looks like a nice cafe over here. You'll be able to see all that. In life, it's the same thing. If you're feeling a bit moody, a bit depressed, and if you keep going super, super fast, you're not going to be able to notice what's going on. So by slowing down and by making some space, those are the two strategies that I find myself that they work really well. Then things just arrive. Things just appear in your vision. And then you're able to look at that. Yes, I haven't been addressing this example this grief that I've been holding on to for some time. Look at that. I've been in conflict with my brother or my sister or my parents or my friend, and we haven't like organized this, and we haven't been talking to each other after this fight. Maybe I should pay a bit more attention to that. So just by making some space and slowing down, things are going to emerge out of themselves, and that's how we create meaning around it. And the last part I want to talk about is that don't overthink it, in a way that, okay, maybe next time that you feel a little bit more depressed, you'll try those tricks. You'll look at your last days. You'll try to fix your healthy habits. You'll try to do something in the moment to change your state. And then you'll try to ask yourself if you have control over it. And then maybe that you try to seek the reason, you try to seek the purpose behind all this. Like, why am I feeling this way? Well, again, remember that sometimes this message is maybe not ready for you. And maybe how you feel has nothing to do with some kind of a greater purpose. And sometimes it's just okay to feel like this and to let things go. Because an emotion, a state of mind, is not lasting super long. Over a few days, you are entertaining this state by yourself, meaning that the more that you think about something, or the more that you think about how you feel, the more you're going to feel this way. So if I feel a bit down and then I think, why do I feel down? Well, I feel down. Oh my God, I feel down. And all of those thoughts make you feel more down. So after sometimes it's just okay to again let those things go and accept that you don't find any purpose or any reason why you're feeling like this right now. It might come later, it might not. But if you can't find it now, and even if after you have slowed down and make some space, you can't find anything that makes sense right now why you feel this way and how can you take action to change it, then that's completely okay. You just let that go. So those were small and hopefully useful strategies for you that you can look in the past, maybe change something you can do right now, and perhaps make some space so that you're a bit better able to see what's the reason behind how you feel. But again, don't overthink it. And I hope that the next time that you feel a little bit lower, because unfortunately it's going to come one day or another, and that's completely fine. Once again, it's okay to normalize emotions. All of us have them. This is completely normal. So I hope that you'll be able to use some of those tools, and that, of course, at the end, you'll be able to feel much better and enjoy that what you do best. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will see you for another episode of the Internal Compass podcast in 2 weeks.